Hello! In this video, we're going to look at some rare vintage effects processors made by Ursa Major! Those include the Space Station SST-282 and the Stargate 323. Let's go. So who on earth were Ursa Major? Well, a guy called Christopher Moore was working for a company called KLH in the late 1960s, and they produced stereos, hi-fi equipment. And after a few years there, he took an opportunity to join a fledgling company called Lexicon. And they're, of course, incredibly famous now for their digital effects, including some of the earliest ever made. And in fact, when Christopher joined them, there was less than 10 people at the company. After a few years at Lexicon, he left to set up his own company, which was Ursa Major, and his first product was the Space Station. So what is the Space Station? Well, it's a multi-tap digital delay reverberation processor, which means it's a digital effects processor designed to create spatial effects. And in fact, Space Station is a play on words. So your signal comes in, you've got some basic shelving, you can blend in the direct signal, and then you've got these audition delay taps in the audition delay mixer, and these are in pairs 1 and 2, 3 and 4, etc. It's a stereo unit. You've also got another tap, which is the echo delay tap. And you can set that with this knob here and this button, and that one's fed back for, delays and echoes. It then has a massive trick up its sleeve, which I'll talk about a little bit later. You can use these audition delay programs to jump to a family of sounds and then tweak from there. So you've got rooms, combs, delay clusters, and space repeats. So what is the massive trick the Space Station has up its sleeve? Well, independent of the audition delay taps and the echo delay tap, there are another bunch of them which are modulated and then fed back. And the reason they're modulated is so that you don't get self-oscillation. You don't get that build-up, that perpetual thing where you lose control of a delay and it creates a wormhole. We've all done it. And the reason he did that was so that he could build up these repeats and these reflections to synthesize reverb. up to 3.5 seconds. Check this out. So 1978, Space Station comes out. A few years later, 83, 84, they come out with the Stargate 323, and this broadly uses the same principle of modulated fedback delay taps. It can do delays, echoes, comb filtering, and reverbs. It tripled, or nearly tripled, the reverb time from 3.5 seconds to 10 seconds. And then, in fact, there was a 626 that then doubled that to 20 seconds, and this is a 626 in disguise. It's been updated inside. So you've got your input, you've got your low frequency and high frequency decay filters, you've got your mix, direct and reverb, then you select a room, and on the original there were 8, but this one keeps on going, 9, A, B, C, D, E, F, 0, and then back, because it's been upgraded to be a 626. You've got your pre-delay, which is the period of time before the onset of the delay, emulates how acoustic spaces work in the real world. And then you've got your decay time. Let's give it a listen. So you can hear that these units, particularly the space station, have a kind of low fidelity, gritty, garbled sound to them, which is down to the technology of the era. And here's the funny thing, because nowadays you can perfectly recreate an input signal, but in doing so you bring nothing new to the sound, whereas these guys can't perfectly reproduce an input signal if their life depended on it. They're all about processing the sound, colouring the sound, adding a character to it. Something different comes out the other end than went in, a bit like a curry on a Thursday night. And so they become part of your production, part of your songwriting, part of what you're making, rather than something you stick on as an afterthought. So what became of Ursa Major? Well, as well as the Space Station and the Stargate, they came out with a few more products. The 8x32 digital reverberator, the MSP126 stereo processor, and the Aurora ADR68K. And that coincided with Christopher selling the company to AKG, which is why you find AKG badged ADR68Ks. AKG kept them on until December of 1990 when they let them all go. Christopher went into consultancy and his services, unsurprisingly, were very welcome. In 2004, Christopher worked with Princeton Digital on the first plug-in version of the Space Station, and in 2005, under his own company, Seven Woods Audio, he came out with a new space station, the SST-206. And the technology had moved on so much that the entire thing was in a case that was not much bigger than a smartphone. In more recent years, Christopher sadly suffered with his health and he passed away only a few months ago. It would have been wonderful to have been able to speak to him, but he lives on in his creations. He's no doubt in the big space station in the sky now. And I don't think it's a coincidence that, people like Frank Zappa was a big fan of the space station. You can see his in the background in this photo. Chris Lord-Alge says he uses his on every mix he does, which means it's probably on countless records we're unaware of. And I think a lot of big studios around the world still have these as a bit of a secret weapon. So thank you, Christopher. Thank you to the respective owners of these units, and thank you to you for watching.